Welcome to episode 1 of our coverage of the comic history of the characters in the new Marvel Cinematic Universe film Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi is obviously a big deal in the MCU, with some incredible new lore to add to the universe, including some new and powerful foes. One of the foes in this film is the enigmatic Death Dealer. Today's video is going to break down the complete comic book history of Death Dealer as he's represented in the comics, so let's do it. Death Dealer's first comic book appearance was in Master of Kung Fu number 115, well into the established existence of Shang-Chi and his ongoing battle with his father, Fu Manchu. Yeah, before we go any farther, let me just stop right here and say that some of the artwork and names of these characters did not age very well. Think of this notice as a disclaimer, much like old cartoons that have racist artwork or themes have a disclaimer in front of them. Specifically the character of Fu Manchu, who was obviously replaced within the MCU with the much more culturally appropriate Wenwu. This is a topic I will discuss at greater length in the video on Wenwu. Created by Doug Moench and Gene Day, Death Dealer was originally much different than the version of the character we see on the big screen. In the comics, Shang-Chi is raised to be the perfect warrior, with aspirations of helping his father take over the world. From Shang-Chi's perspective, his father is a good and virtuous man. However, as time progresses, he learns the truth, that his father is a criminal mastermind. All of this and far more will be covered in Shang-Chi's origin video. However, Shang-Chi does abandon his father's evil empire and begins working with MI6, and specifically an operative named Dennis Nayland Smith, and the two have many adventures. Keep in mind, at the point that Death Dealer's introduced, we're well over 100 issues deep into the series. The comic begins with Shang-Chi working for Dennis Nayland Smith. Dennis is being courted by the mysterious director of MI6, Falo Su. Falo Su was, in actuality, the estranged sister of Shang-Chi and daughter to Fu Manchu, who is secretly plotting to overthrow and control her father's criminal empire. Dennis had fallen on some hard times financially, and Falo Su offers to save Dennis's home and their central hideout from foreclosure by forging convincing paperwork that would stand up in court, giving him ownership of the estate if Smith agrees to hunt down and kill an operative that she had learned is working for her father. Smith accepts the deal and assigns Shang-Chi to take him down. Falo Su gives background information on this operative named Li Qinglin to Dennis. Shortly thereafter, Shang-Chi heads out in order to apprehend this man. Shang-Chi finds him, and of course, a fight breaks out where Shang-Chi easily gets the upper hand before Qinglin is able to flee. Li is able to escape and travels back to Fu Manchu, who's acting under the name Wang Yu Sing and in a state of hiding after escaping a near-death scenario. Fu Manchu upgrades his drip and rechristens him as the Death Dealer. In the meantime, Shang-Chi and his crew are informed of the circumstances that led to this assignment, and they determine that something about the whole scenario just isn't right. Shang-Chi specifically can't believe that Dennis Nayland Smith would agree to kill a man he barely knows anything about just to gain some wealth through fraudulent means, but they don't have much time to worry about the ethical implications of the whole scenario because Death Dealer is able to track down Shang-Chi and his friends, and he fires a goddamn RPG through their window. I would say that that is the type of move that really deals death, except nobody actually dies, so, bad name. Shang-Chi ends up facing off with Death Dealer, with the two being far more evenly matched this time. Death Dealer is able to even get a slight upper hand by using blades against Shang-Chi, but eventually is disarmed by Clive Reston's pistol. Death Dealer, realizing that it's like 8 against 1 at this point, decides to again flee. It's then revealed that Dennis knew of Falo Su's intention, and only took the deal in order to get more information on Fu Manchu's actual whereabouts, with the goal of tracking him down and killing him once and for all. Shang-Chi and Dennis reconcile and begin the process of hunting down Death Dealer and Shang-Chi's father. Shang-Chi and Clive are able to find Fu Manchu's whereabouts and battle with his assassins. During the battle and subsequent pursuit, Shang-Chi faces off with a giant scorpion. Look, comic books back then, they just did whatever they wanted. You wanted to have an 8.5-foot scorpion? Good, put him in there. Let's have him fight a kung fu master. I don't give a shit. During this fight, Shang-Chi is incapacitated by the scorpion's venom and is abducted by Death Dealer. With Shang-Chi now incapacitated, the nature of Fu Manchu's master plan is revealed. He actually wishes to use some of Shang-Chi's blood along with various other chemicals to create a serum, the Elixir Vitae. This allows him to regain his youth. Fu Manchu plans to keep Shang-Chi captive until he can steal enough of his blood to make the serum last indefinitely. But in the ballsiest move of all time, Shang-Chi is able to break free by biting a bag of blood that his father's collecting, splattering all over himself. He then breaks a nearby rat's cage, and the rats, smelling the blood, chew through the ropes that are covered in Shang-Chi's blood, freeing him. And he also probably got the Black Plague. Shang-Chi confronts his father again, but is attacked by Death Dealer, who is waiting in the shadows. And even though Shang-Chi is considerably weakened, he still manages to kick the absolute shit out of Death Dealer, bad enough that he flees again. And for those of you keeping score, that's Shang-Chi 3 and Death Dealer 0, so not much death being dealt at all. Fu Manchu and Death Dealer flee back to China, and this leads to a final confrontation between the forces of MI6 and Shang-Chi and his father's criminal empire. Except this time, Shang-Chi lights Death Dealer on fire by knocking over a brazier which engulfs him in flame, killing him, and also being completely badass. Fu Manchu also falls in this issue, but that is a story I will expand upon elsewhere. And that is pretty much every appearance of Death Dealer in the comics, and despite his name being Death Dealer, he never actually deals any death. Kind of a bummer for a character who is so formidable in the films. However, comics are comics, and there's absolutely nothing preventing them from bringing Death Dealer back in some new and improved capacity. They just recently relaunched a Shang-Chi ongoing comic, and I certainly think he deserves a shot at doing something cool in the actual comic books. That is it for me here at Key Issues. I hope you guys learned a lot in this video, and if you did, consider liking, subscribing, doing all those things that YouTubers ask you to do. This has been Nick with Key Issues. Thanks for watching, and remember the motto, Death Dealer over everything.